if I see a light in the sky or have a strange feeling, maybe a smell that comes out of nowhere, which seems to happen sometimes when I'm around haunted places. I want to know why. It's like, what can I rule out here? You know, is it an airplane? Is it a UFO? Who knows? But I am very much a person who wants to find stuff out himself. So I would say my kind of journey on this whole thing really began when I was in high school, and I started keeping a dream journal. And every night I would dream, and then I would write this down in my little notebook before I went to school. And I started to notice that so many things that had happened during the school day were things that I had dreamt about. And so this really changed my mind about, how does time work? How is it possible that I could see these events before they actually happened? So I was really intrigued by that, and that really just started making me pay attention to all these kind of things that probably a lot of people also could experience, but really just kind of don't pay a lot of attention to.
Yeah, see, it all started for me when I was a little kid, having kind of a recurring dream as well. I've started doing sort of a series on this channel where I just do a solo show where I'm trying to like tell all of my weird paranormal experiences growing up. And it was like that. I was, alone a lot as a kid, playing down in the basement where my parents owned a restaurant. Sometimes I would fall asleep down there, and it was so bizarre. I'd have this recurring dream where it was like a portal would open up in the wall, and I would walk through into like kind of an alternate dimension with like a checkerboard floor and this a really purpley blue colored, like almost like aurora borealis type sky, like almost like an astral plane type vibe to it. And then there would always be these stone pillars and strange stuff, but I'd have this dream over and over and over again. And I think my fascination with dreams, and like, what are the things in the dreams made out of? Like, if you go pick up something, an object in the dream, or even a person comes up and talks to you, it's always fascinated me, like, how much of that is my own subconscious, like capable of projecting an entire realm around myself and then put myself in there. And I even think I have a body. I have hands, there's objects, there's like a whole scene, sometimes houses. And ultimately it's just like a dream. And my fascination with that has always been a little bit deeper than a lot of people around me. I think they just go to bed and it feels good, and they dream and they're like, "Well, that was a weird dream," but sounds like you're kind of the same. You started having dreams that seem to come true almost, or have some deja vu. Maybe tell us some stories about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much deja vu. I would wake up, I would write down these scenes that I'd seen in my dreams, and then when they happened, of course, during the day, like for instance, I took auto mechanics in high school, and one dream I had, I was sitting in the front seat of a car looking at somebody who I thought was my brother. And we were adjusting like the shifter in this old Camaro or something. And it happened. And during the day, I'm sitting there in the front of this Camaro that we pulled up at the auto mechanics garage. And I'm looking at this guy, and I suddenly realized, wow, he looks a lot like my brother. So I kind of gotten the identification wrong in my dream, but that scene had taken place, and I had written it down before I went to school. So as I said, that just blew my mind, that how is it that I'm seeing things before they happen? And is it because I'm special? I didn't really consider myself special. I don't consider myself special, but it did make me think that our ideas of time are really limited, But studying your dreams, I think, is a fantastic way of increasing your psychic ability and knowledge, because I think that so much of that information is in the dreams that you can bring up to the surface. And the more you work with your conscious mind and your unconscious mind, you become a very powerful person. I think being able to really utilize these skills that I think everybody has. So.
Yeah, I think even just like you're saying, the act of writing it down or keeping a journal suddenly is it just even that one extra step of being mindful of your own inner workings and your own thought processes and your own experience in reality, beyond just taking everything at face value for granted. Just that user interface from when you wake up in the morning and go through your day, and then when you fall asleep at night, everybody just puts that in this bucket, like it, well, that's just like hallucinations or some subconscious figments, you know. But when you start to write it down and you start to pay attention or meditate, you realize this interdimensional levels, aspects of altered states of consciousness that are really phenomenal and interesting, and tied into a lot of interesting things.
It still blows my mind how recently, like, scientists thought that the dreaming state was just some kind of biological process where the mind was figuring out where to, put these the events of the day, store it in memory and everything. And it is completely different from that. It is so much more. So I think that is really a frontier that is just ripe for discovery. Even now, there is so much that we can learn about ourselves just by studying dreams.
So you started writing things down in your book, and then you noticed that there was congruencies from the dreams, and then things started to happen in the real world that seemed like
Yes.
almost precognitive from the dream happening. So what's some stuff that happened there?
Well, similar to that, I can think of one thing. Like right when I was in the process of writing down my dreams, still in high school, I remember being at lunch one day and suddenly being very concerned about a volcano erupting. And I was like, "This is going to happen. I don't know what's going on." I got a little concerned, and I told my buddies at the lunch table that I get the feeling this volcano is going to explode or something. And then a couple days later, this volcano in Colombia actually did erupt. And I thought, well, how did I know that was going to happen? I've always been the kind of guy who likes to read newspapers, even when I was a kid. But I mean, I don't think there was any real run up for that particular eruption. So that I started to realize when I started paying more attention to those little, little intuition, a little bit of nudge, like, hey, there might be something going on here, that often they would lead me in the right direction or give me information that I wouldn't have ordinarily had.
So you feel like kind of that upbringing, like keeping the journal and stuff like that. My mom did that too. She had me do like a free writing for some reason. And I think it was, before video games and things, it was like something to keep me busy. So she would put me down, and it was like maybe even something she saw on the Oprah Winfrey show. I don't know. But she'd be like, it was really great. It's helped me a lot, this kind of stuff. She would sit me down and say, as soon as you pick up the pencil and it touches the paper, you can't stop writing. You have to just come up with a story.
Wow.
out of your imagination on the fly. And it's so funny how much that has helped me, with my career being a YouTuber and stuff, where I'm able to hit record on the camera and spiel out, like a full minute. And it almost feels like in that moment that flow state kicks in, and there's this deeper wisdom that takes over. And it's almost like I'm a witness to what's going on, and the words just flow out, and it's just meant to happen, and there's these phenomenal experiences like that where you're almost just kind of a passenger along for the ride. And if you pay attention to that, just like you're dreaming and keeping a journal and noticing that, you realize that your life is a lot more dynamic and connected, like you said. And you keep bringing up time. So what is it about these experiences that makes you question the nature of time, Mark? That's a really interesting thing.
The conventional wisdom is that time is a linear thing that goes from the past to the present to the future, and we're really only aware, honestly, of the now. And I've read stories from books from mystics and everything that talk about how time doesn't honestly exist, that everything is now. And you've probably heard that before. The gurus say the only thing that exists is now. And if you think about like when you can affect anything, it's actually right now in the present moment. But I think that if you work a little bit with your psychic abilities, you start to realize that your definition of now can change a little bit.